Welcome to Education, Leadership, and Beyond, Surviving and Thriving. My name is Andrew Murata, host of the show, and it is show number 252. Happy summer. Good to be with you live here on Facebook. Proud member of the Education Podcast Network, Voice Ed Radio Canada, wherever you are taking in your podcast. I'm excited that you are here with me. I hope your summer's going well. I hope you are refilling, recharging, and getting plugged in, taking care of yourself this summer. Again, an honor to be here with you. Let's get rolling. Show number 252. Before we meet our guest today, Dr. Jeff Prickett. Jeff is a principal. He's an author. He's a father of eight children. God bless you, Jeff. And he is also a podcast host from Illinois. We're going to meet Jeff in a moment. And I'm honored to have Jeff on as our guest. If you are watching the show live, jump in, introduce yourself, get in the chat, and we'd love to have you ask a question and be part of the show. If you're listening afterwards, certainly jump in there as well. The sponsor of today's show is Halvesies Cookies. That discount code is Marotta, Marotta. Halvesies Cookies. You're going to a barbecue, you're going somewhere this summer. Halvesies Cookies, check them out, and they come vacuum sealed. They're fantastic. My friend David Maffei and his company there. David's a former educator, and now he's full-time cookie salesperson. Check them out. You could use discount code Marotta15 for a 15% discount. They're phenomenal. I'm telling you, you order them once, you will be ordering them again. Check them out. Discount code Marotta. Let's get started. The opening concept is pronto. I was just telling Jeff off air, I was just recently in Italy, and I took my daughter there, and I lived in Italy for a year, and I love going there. And the word pronto, right? They say it often. When they pick up the phone, they say pronto. When you go to a counter, you go to a store, you go to a restaurant, the person says pronto. In Italian, that means ready. So I ask you here on Education, Leadership, Beyond, pronto, are you ready? When people come to you, is that your response? Hey, I'm ready. I'm ready for you. I'm ready to serve you. I'm ready to take care of your needs. I'm ready to help you. Pronto. Being in Italy, being around the Italians, it reminded me to be ready. It reminded me to, when I greet people, right? How can I help you? What can I do for you? They're looking for something from you. You're a school leader. You're an educator. You're a leader in your business. Pronto. So that's the opening concept. Stick that in your pocket, right? That's how they answer the phone. When someone calls you, what's your energy? What's your response? And are you ready? Speaking of ready, Jeff is ready to join the program. He is with us live from Illinois. Jeff, welcome to Education, Leadership, and Beyond.
Hey, my friend Andrew, thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here, man. It's a pleasure to be here. I wish I could get out to Italy. It sounds like you had a great time.
Put it on the list, Jeff. Put it on. I'm telling you and all those kids, your beautiful wife, get there.
Pronto. It's going to happen pronto.
You're ready. You're ready. Friends, this is Dr. Jeff Prickett. Jeff is a principal in Illinois, McHenry High School. Jeff is an author. Jeff is a podcaster. And as I share, he is certainly a busy dad. Jeff, year 6 at McHenry, how was it for you? How are you now? How are things for you?
Yeah, man. I mean, it was a great year. We had a good time. We got a lot of stuff done. It was an interesting year. I mean, we're still talking. Everyone in education is still talking about the years after the pandemic, and I think we're going to be talking about it for a long time. This was a better year than 2 years ago when we first came back right out of the pandemic. And so every year I think we're going to get better and better and further away from it, and stop talking about it. Never forget it, right? But stop talking about it. That's what I'm looking for. So no, it was a good year. We've got a lot of stuff going on here. We transitioned into, from 2 comprehensive high schools into essentially 1 school, but 2 campuses, when we now have a freshman campus and an upper campus.
Oh,
And
wow.
I was the principal of both of them. I would travel back and forth to both campuses, and it was good, and I liked it, but it was also very, very challenging. And we're gonna revert back this year. I will just be principal of the upper campus, and we hired internally. We promoted a principal for our freshman campus, which is really going to be a good change.
Yeah.
I need to be focused and present here for my staff and kids at the upper campus, and I just couldn't do both campuses. I just could not be. I felt bad every night. I'm supposed to be the principal at the freshman campus, and I'm hardly ever there. It's just not fair to those kids and teachers. So I'm excited about the changes again this year, and we're all about that this summer. So
nice. Sounds like you got stretched a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Little bit.
That stretchy dog. Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah. One thing you were really proud of, and one thing you're kind of like, I'm not doing that again, or I didn't really like the way that went.
Yeah. Well, I think that, I'm really proud of the way the staff handled all the changes coming back into the school year when we came out of the pandemic. We built a brand new addition onto the upper campus for our kids and community. It's a complete brand new 3-floor science, tech, and innovation center, industry lab. And I'm really, really proud of that. We also brought in blended learning, and we went from like 4 to 52 courses of blended learning in 1 year, in addition to the transition, the freshman campus and upper campus. So I was really proud of all the work we did and how our kids and staff handled all of that. However, if we were to ever have a pandemic again, I would not roll all those changes out the year we come out of it, which is what we did. It was just too much.
Yeah.
All the experts said, don't make any changes, don't have any new initiatives when you come back into regular learning, and we did all the things. So I wouldn't do that again.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we're not going to have that pandemic.
No, we're not gonna. We're not gonna.
Looking back in reflection certainly helps us do better. Jeff, we're in the summer now. You have a chance to catch your breath. You don't have students directly every day. How do you unwind? What do you do a little bit differently this summer to kind of catch your breath a little bit?
Yeah. You know what has always been really important to me, Andrew, growing up, I read a lot. I read a lot of fiction, mostly fiction. And as you get older and life gets busy, and with your work, and you're just trying to survive and figure things out, that there's some things that I found that I had sacrificed, and that was so that's something that I've gotten back into over the last year or two, or even more. I'm reading a lot. Anytime I have free time, I read, because I think that not only are you forced to slow your mind down and concentrate, but you're forced to slow your life down, and you get new ideas from reading, and I think it's important that everyone read as much as they can. Just you learn a lot, no matter if it's fiction or nonfiction or whatever it is you're reading. Trying to learn something, right?
Do you write in the book? Do you put Post-it notes? How do you, if someone you read so much, I find if I'm reading multiple books, like I lose, what book was that? How do you retain the information that you're reading?
Yeah, that's a good question. I find that with fiction, not so much. I don't write in the book, or what I do is keep a journal next to me, a leather bound journal, and I write ideas that I have while I'm reading, because I find that when you finally are able to calm your mind down and block everything else out and just focus on the one task that you're doing right now, you have ideas. The ideas just explode all of a sudden. And so I keep a journal next to me. I write down, like big global ideas. But if it's a nonfiction book, like if I'm trying to learn something or whatever, or self-help book or whatever, I'm writing in the book, in the margins, I'm highlighting, and also writing in the journal as well, so I can go back and remember those things. Right? Maybe
Sure.
I find something I put into practice in my life, or my profession, or what have you.
Are you one at a time? You're going to finish this book. You're not, or do you just grab kind of that next, just grab something in front of you?
No, man, my TBR pile is a mile high, and I've got a couple of them. I've got a pile next to my chair in my living room. I've got a pile on my nightstand next to my bed. So, I've set a goal for myself. I use Goodreads. I'm on Goodreads, and because I find it focuses my reading, and so I do have like 6 going at a time usually.
Wow.
But I try to finish. Once I get halfway through one, I'm like, all right, I've got to finish this one. I've got to put the others aside for a little while and finish one, and then I can go back. So I don't know. It's just a habit. It's always something I've always done.
We're a little similar in that regard.
Uh,
Jeff, not only are you a reader, you're also an author yourself.
sure.
Becoming Principal came out 2021. What
Yeah.
was that like for you? How did that feel for you and your family? And I want to ask you about your writing process, but how's it been since 2021, since the book came out?
Yeah, I mean, the publication of the book was great. I knew that I would never, become a millionaire off the book. It was just a personal thing that I had to do.
Yeah.
And I had been wanting to write it for a long time. And I think that significantly, when I turned 50, in 2020, I was very reflective and was thinking a lot about, like, how did I get to this point, this stage of my career? How I'm so blessed. Why is that? And it all went back to my first principal job. When I was an elementary principal, that I took back in 2000, whatever that was, 2004, I think, right? And I learned so much from those kids and those teachers and that community, those parents and families, and um, I just learned and I have so much to thank, and be thankful for, because of that community, that I had to write about it. And so that was the gist of it. Becoming Principal was, uh, talking about and reflecting on how I became principal because of them,
Yeah.
and the stories and the lessons that I learned in the 10 years that I was in that community, that I worked in that school and district. So, yeah, I mean, that was becoming principal. And, like I said, I'm not going to make a ton of money on it. I don't even know, to be honest, how many books it's sold, because that's not really the purpose. I wanted to get it out there. If people buy it still and it helps people, great. If not, I'm not out there promoting it. And, that wasn't the idea. I
Yeah.
gave a lot of copies away to people in that community, and sold a bunch more. But, it was cathartic for me. It was a release.
Yeah.
So,
Shout out to Darren Peppard and Road to Awesome there. I
sure.
saw you connected with them. What was your writing process, Jeff? There's a lot of school leaders that want to write, but they're so busy, they're getting pulled. You have a bunch of kids there too, yourself, your own personal
Sure.
children. What was your process?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, that's great, and I think everyone has their own process. And so,
Sure.
it was very different, because when I was writing and trying to finish up my dissertation for my doctorate, that was, taking time off work, going to the public library, sitting your butt down and just doing it, because because you're paying a lot of money, into the university. And so you better finish, right? So that was just forcing myself to get into a writing flow. With the book, which was much more personal, for me, I found that I couldn't have a set, like, I couldn't say, oh, I'm going to sit and write for an hour every day. That did not work for me. But what I did find worked for me was that I was going to write for, a certain number of words every month. And however I broke that up during the month, as long as I met my word limit for that month, I felt felt pretty good, because you can't say I'm going to write every day, because what if something happens and you can't write that day? You're going to feel bad about yourself that you didn't get it done. You set a goal and you didn't accomplish it. Well, that's what was happening to me, and then I'd feel bad about that. And so, I'm not about feeling bad about things. I'm gonna just set a goal that works for me and get it done. So that was kind of my thought. Yeah. And it worked. And so, like you mentioned with the kids and everything, I've got 8 kids, like you mentioned. Not all of them live at home at once. So if you're thinking about, adopting or having 8 kids, maybe you don't want to have them all home at once. That's it. It helps to make sure that some of them are moved out first. But so I would write whenever I could. I'd write at night after they went to sleep, or early morning before they got home, or whenever it moved me. I would pick up the pen and start writing.
Well, again, principal, a father, to do that and get the book done, it's impressive. Let's talk a little bit about balance, Jeff. It sounds like, again, you give yourself some wiggle room, but it's stressful being a principal. Again, 8 children, you're married. There's a lot there. Tell me about, setting your schedule and taking care of yourself with the balance of all of those responsibilities.
Yeah. I mean, that's hard too, right? And you hear, I learned from, Adam Welcome a number of years ago. A lot of your listeners and viewers will probably know who Adam Welcome is. Lives out in California, fantastic educator, wrote Kids Deserve It, the book. Yep. He said to me, and he's since said to others, like, at 4:00, just leave, just walk out the door and leave. It's setting boundaries. It's not that you're not passionate about your work. It's not that you're telling people that, like, you don't care and there are other things that are more important. And yeah, for a high school principal, any of your high school leaders know that, listen, you've got meetings, and you've got after school athletics and activities, and it's not a 9 to 5 job. Sometimes I'm here till 6, 7 o'clock at night,
Yeah.
So, but when I can walk out the door at 4, I do it, and I don't feel bad about it. I have to, because it's setting boundaries. If you set boundaries for yourself, which I haven't always been great at, Andrew, but if you set boundaries for yourself, then you're going to find that you have more time for others and doing the things that you love to do. But you have to set boundaries. You have to for yourself first, and then you find that you have more time for other things and other people. It's strange how that works, but it's very true. And so I've had to learn how to do that.
Do you set an alarm? What do you do? And speaking of boundaries, I got to stand up, Jeff.
I see that your lights went out. Those automatic lights went out.
On the timer. There they go.
Yeah, no, I don't.
It must be time to go.
That's so funny. It's telling you. Is it 4:00? Yeah.
It's 4:00.
It actually is 4:00. It actually is 4:00 for you. Yeah, no, I don't set an alarm or anything like that. I just I have a great administrative assistant, and she keeps me focused and on task, and I've got a very understanding and loving wife, and she's busy too, and runs is the founder and executive director of her own nonprofit, and so she's very busy too, and so we just keep each other honest, and like, just be really clear with one another, and like, say, hey, I need you to put your phone down right now and listen to me, or hey, you said you were going to do this, but you didn't, and and just so not take offense to that, but just just take a look inward and say, yeah, I could be doing a better job of that, and here's how I'm going to try that.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah. Well, kudos to you. That's impressive, the work you're doing. Been doing it for so long. Looking forward to next year now, Jeff.
Yeah.
How do you kind of, not that you want to do so much different, but setting initiatives, setting your theme for the year? Like, have you done that stuff yet? Where are you now? It's July 13th. Where are you in looking at next year?
Yeah. Well, the high school never sleeps. That's one thing that I've learned. It's been 6 years since I've been in high school admin. a high school building principal, and I've been elementary principal and I've been a middle school principal as well. And I've found that the biggest difference is that the high school never sleeps, right? And so there are people here all the time. It's always a buzz. It's a little slower in the summer, but yeah, we it's like the minute the graduation is over, you're already thinking and planning for next year, right?
Exactly.
And so you talk about a theme. I mean, I've got a couple of them. One is the word, and it goes into, if anyone does their one word for the year, like mine is organize, and it just means to me, like, organize your life, organize my personal space, my personal life, and organize my professional life as well. And that means everything. Like, so what are the action steps to get to your one word and to make sure you're doing those things? Well, you have to have action steps. So how am I working towards that one word of organize? It's, first of all, I've decluttered everything. I declutter my home. We're working on that. I've decluttered my office. And again, my admin assistant has really been a big help with that, helping me to declutter, because it frees up my mind. I've found, once I declutter things, and I can really feel good. And then I can help others to organize themselves as well. So it also means that we're organized in our work, and we're organized in feeling ready to go to, so that other people feel confident that you're there for them, and are going to be present with them. So that's one thing. And then the other thing is this African word, and it's called Ubuntu, and it means I am because we are, right? And so that's our kind of our theme for the year. And really, it's a great theme for every year, but it's like it really does literally mean I am because we are. So and if we weren't, then I wouldn't be, right? So we need each other, right? So that's kind of what we're going to focus on for the year. For me personally, it's organize, and for our staff, it's the concept of I am because we are.
I love it. I love it. And there's so many tools out there that can help you do that, and
Sure.
put it in. Good for you for recognizing that. And I love how you said action steps, taking the necessary steps towards that.
Sure. Don't just set your one word. I mean, talk to me about how you're going to get there. What are you going to do to make it a reality, right?
I love it, Jeff. Jeff, we got your life in front of you again, leading your school, your family. Give me one thing you're really proud of. This could be personal, this could be professional, or a combination of both. One thing you want to stop doing, and one thing you wish you did, but you don't currently do. We can take them one at a time. So let's go one thing, or one action, one person you're proud of, something like that.
Sure. Well, I'm really proud of it, just personally, that my wife and I are really have come together, and are really focused on making sure that all of our kids, 4 of them are adopted, and have some pretty special needs, that we have, said, okay, what are we going to do here? Because we can't continue living, the way we are used to living. We're going to have to change, because they're not going to, right? And so we've committed to making sure that, we are doing whatever we can. And sometimes that's really hard, because you can't go out on Friday night. You can't go on these trips like your friends are doing, and hang out with people anymore, because you've taken on this responsibility. So I'm proud of how we have hung in there, and have come together and working on, what's best for these kids, because we have 4 adult kids, and then 4 kids that are adopted, and they range, all 8 of them, from 8 to 34 years old.
Wow.
And so the adult kids, have needs as well. I've got one that's married, one that's getting married in November. So it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah,
So,
man. God bless. But good for you and your wife coming together with that.
Yeah. What's next? One thing
Cool.
that
one thing you want to stop doing?
Oh man, I want to stop feeling guilty about things, right? I want to stop, because that just takes up space in my brain, right?
Yeah.
And for everybody, like, whatever you need to do, I've learned that procrastinating and putting things off just makes my life worse and more cluttered, right? And not organized at all, because it's always there in the back of my head, and I'm like, I know I've got to do that, and I feel guilty about not doing it, and I don't want to do it. But so just tackle it, man. Just get after it,
Yeah.
and then lo and behold, it takes up no more space in your brain, right? And so you're free to do the things that you want to do, right, instead of those things that are weighing you down. What maybe that might mean forgiving somebody, because that guess what, that's always in the back of your brain too. Give that person a call, forgive them, say you're sorry to them if that's what you need to do, whatever it is, but it's taking up space in your brain. Right.
Great answer there. Again, if you're watching live, there's a number of people watching. Jump in, say hello in the chat, introduce yourself, and bring a question to Jeff or I. And Jeff, lastly, one thing you wish you did, but you currently don't do.
Wow. Well, I'll go professional on that one. And it's something, again, Andrew, around, making sure that I am understanding what organize means to me. It is making sure that I have time to be. I don't get into classrooms nearly as much as I should, and part of that was understanding our campus structure, and understanding trying to figure out how I was going to get to two campuses and be there for everybody, and I couldn't be there for everybody. And so what happens sometimes when you feel like you can't do everything because you've got so much to do? Well, my personality is such that I just don't do anything. Right. And so if you're like me, right, it helps to declutter. It helps. I'm a Libra too, Andrew. And so what that means, and then why that's important, is not that I'm deep into astrology, but I appreciate understanding people's personalities and their behaviors, and understanding the reasons why. And so Libras are peacekeepers. And so I will do just about anything to keep the peace. That means that I don't like confrontation. That means that if I can't figure something out, like I said to you, sometimes I don't do it. So one thing that I'm going to start doing that I wish I had always done more of is I'm visible. I'm highly visible. I have an open door policy. I do all the things, right? But I don't get out into classrooms as much as I need to, and have those deeper philosophical conversations about practice with teachers, and they need me for that, and I'm going to be there and do that. So
amen to that. Being in those classrooms solves a lot of things. Two things, Jeff. You said you're being organized, as your word. Put it on your schedule. Put it on your schedule early.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
The mobile desk. I have a desk with wheels. You get in the hallway, you get your laptop, you get down there, you got your desk with you. Get into the classroom with your desk.
Love that. That's great. That's a great piece of advice.
It's on wheels, man.
Great piece of advice. Love it.
Yeah. Cool. Have your administrative assistant get it for you.
I'm going to do that.
Jeff, you're an author, again, a father, you're a principal. What's next for you? Is it another book? Is it another administrative position? You've been a principal for a long time. What is next for you?
Yeah. Well, that's great. I mean, this is entering my 27th year in public education. Most of those as a public school administrator. I've taught. I was a dean. I was an assistant principal, and then the last 20 now as building principal. Wow. And so, yeah, man. I mean, that's a good question. I think I'm really enjoying just being. I've got the podcast that's kind of slowed down a little bit as well. We had 2 of them up and running at one point, the Principal Leadership Lab with my good friend Adam DeWitt, and then the Becoming Principal podcast, which I started after the book. And I'm enjoying being and thinking about serving my school, serving my kids and teachers and parents here. And I think that's what I'm going to do for a good long time. And what's next? Who knows? Maybe something come out of that. I still like to write a lot, so maybe there's another book in there. Maybe it's talking about being a foster and adoptive parent as well as a public school administrator, or who knows, man? Who knows? Maybe it's a piece of fiction. I don't know. I used to write a lot of fiction when I was younger too.
Love it. And it's nice that you have those choices to think about. Jeff, we're coming down the stretch here. What's something that that you wanted to talk about that I did not ask you?
Well, man, you know what? I think that we covered a lot of ground here. I think we really did. I think we covered a lot of ground. I think that it's important for, and I don't know how much conversation we need to have around it, but I think it's important for people, whether you're a teacher or whatever role you have. Like if you're thinking about, this is something conversation I have with people a lot. Like if you're thinking about a change for yourself, um, first of all, make sure that you're leaving at the top of your game. And second of all, if it's on your mind, do it, jump at the chance, like look for those opportunities. I just had a conversation with one of my teachers who's in a program right now, looking to be an administrator someday. And he thinks he's locked into becoming like a high school administrator. And I'm trying to tell him, like keep your options open, because maybe it's not a high school administrator. I never thought that I would be a high school principal. I was always, my whole world was elementary and middle up until the last 6 years. Right. And now I can't think of doing anything else besides high school. It might be a little tougher going backwards. Like if you're a high school person, it might be a little tougher going from high school to middle school or even elementary. But hey, if the opportunity arises, jump at it. It might not come again.
Do it, right?
Yeah, if you're thinking about it, at least entertain it, at least research it and figure out why you're thinking about it. Research it and know yourself enough to understand whether, why that's on your mind in the first place. So,
home run, Jeff. Jeff, let's get to rapid fire. These are quick answers.
Let's do it.
This is coming down the stretch. This is like you got to finish that phone call. The bell's going to ring in 2 minutes. You got. Are you ready?
Okay, I'm going to do my best.
Here we go. Well, you're a reader. What's the last book you read?
Stillness is the Key, Ryan Holiday.
Isn't Ryan Holiday the best?
Phenomenal. I watch all his stuff, all his reels on Instagram. I check out his, I would love to go to visit his bookstore. He's got a bookstore.
Where is that?
In Texas. He lives in Texas.
Yeah, so The Obstacle is the Way. He wrote The Obstacle is the Way.
Yes. Yeah. Stillness is the Key, though. Like my good friend Mark Horner, who's an administrator out in Ohio, he recommended Stillness is the Key to me. And I just finished it this week, and it's still reeling around in my head. It's so good. It's so good.
I listen to his stuff on Audible. Stillness. I'm going to write that down. Very cool. Last movie you saw?
Movies. There's so many of them. I don't even know what the last movie I saw was, but I'm watching Suits on Netflix right now. It's a series that ended in 2019. Had a good run for about 8 years or so. Meghan Markle is in it. She's a paralegal, but it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. Okay. I can't stop watching Suits.
Wow.
Suits. Yep, good stuff.
Favorite dish?
It's got to be tacos. Every day I could eat it for lunch and dinner 7 days a week, man. Authentic tacos, like the real deal. It's not.
Are you a fan of the deep dish? Are you a deep dish pizza guy?
Of course, yeah. Love the deep dish. Love the deep dish pizza. Yep, absolutely. I've never had New York style though. Like I've never had New York style. Is that the best?
We'll do a taste. I loved the deep dish when I went out there. It was
all right. Chicago style, right?
You're getting your full meal there for sure.
It's good stuff.
Your favorite place to travel?
Favorite place to travel is got to be California. My dad and my grandparents and my aunt, they all lived out there. I haven't been back for quite a number of years, but it's my absolute top place. Loved every minute of being out there when I was a teenager, and I would go back there. I would live there in a heartbeat.
Wow. On September 1st, I will be glad that I fill in the blank.
I'm almost 53. I don't know why. I just had to come up with a rapid fire answer, so that's why I said that.
The best leaders are the best because
they love what they do. They love their kids and their teachers, and everything about them shows it. I mean, they bring the energy every single minute of the day, even if they don't feel like it.
Bam. A journal or a blog you subscribe to?
Woo. A journal or a blog that I subscribe to? Well, I the Ed Leaders Network with the Illinois Principals Association. That's good stuff. Keeps me current.
Nice. I recommend the Oh my God, James Clear.
The habits.
Yeah,
The 3-2-1.
Atomic Habits 3-2-1 is
The daily newsletter that he puts out.
Thursday.
Does it
He does it
weekly?
Thursday at like noon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just got it today. Yeah,
There
that's a
you
good
go.
one.
He's fantastic. What's a
Good
pet
stuff.
peeve of yours?
People putting ketchup on macaroni and cheese. Don't do that.
You can't do it. What are they doing?
Don't do that.
That's illegal.
Yeah. Or even bigger is mayonnaise on your pizza. Like, why would you do that? Kids do that all the time here. I don't know. Why is it a thing? I don't understand.
Illinois, New York, you got big sports there. Who's your team in Illinois?
Cubs, Chicago Cubs, #1 all day long. And then the Chicago Bears. Yep. My Bears, my Cubbies. That's it.
Did you forgive Steve Bartman?
Yes, a long time ago. Long time ago.
It wasn't his fault.
It wasn't his fault. I mean, anybody would have done it.
I'd be reaching for it.
Right? Anybody would have done that. I mean, I was watching that game. I mean, everybody who is in Chicago was, and you're a Cubs fan, as long as you're not a Sox fan, everybody's watching that game. I forgave him, though. Like, what am I going to do? Stop watching baseball? Stop being a Cubs fan? No, it's not going to happen.
At 8 a.m. on Saturday morning, I feel, fill in the blank.
I feel like $1 million, man. I'm ready to go. I've been up for a couple hours by then. My 10-year-old has drum lessons at 9:30, so I'm looking forward to going with him to his drum lessons. He's going to be a rock star, and I'm feeling good. Like it's going to be a good weekend. I'm ready to do anything.
A wealthy alum walks into your school and hands you a check for $10,000, says you can buy anything you want for the school, for the kids, for your staff. What are you buying them?
You know what? I'm probably going to my teachers and saying, what do we need? What wasn't I able to make sure that you have? Maybe it's a new animage table in our biomed lab, or maybe it's new library books in every English teacher's classroom. But that's a good one. That's $10,000. I'm going to be talking to people about what you need.
You got to get that alum coming into your school. What's the best takeaway from this show for our guests?
Ooh, the concept of pronto, man. Pronto. How can I help? Right?
Be ready.
I love that. Be ready. I'm ready to go.
We got to get you to Italy.
I'm organized and ready to go. I'll start with New York first. I'm coming out to see you. Forget Italy.
Something about Jeff Prickett that people do not know about.
I used to be a rock and roll singer, man. I was a heavy metal singer. I had long hair and earrings, and I've still got the tattoos to prove it. But I was a heavy metal singer back in the day for a number of years. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. I mean, you can't find us on Spotify or anything like that, so don't try. But,
yeah.
We had a huge following when I was, like 17, 18, 19 for about 3 years or so, and we had a place called the Band Room in downtown Elgin, Illinois, and that was the place to be every weekend.
Wow.
So, a lot of fun. Yep.
Very cool. Jeff, you got your socials here on the bottom. You got your book. You got your podcast. What's the best way for people to get in touch with you and find out more about you?
Yeah. Hey, reach out anytime. Those places are probably the best at either Twitter or Instagram. Same handle, either place, JD Prickett. And just DM me. Feel free. Reach out, connect, ask questions, see how I can help you, how we can partner together and pull off some great collabs. I'd love to. That'd be great.
Jeff, I love quotes. Why don't you end us here with a quote? Do you have one that you like that you go to?
Sure. It's from Mr. Rogers, believe it or not. And I wrote it down so that I could get it right, because it's about it's about doing things, like do things. If you find that you can do something good for somebody, do it. But I'm going to read it to you. It goes like this: to see people who will notice a need in the world and do something about it, those are my heroes. Mr. Rogers.
Do something about it.
Do something about it. Yep. If you see a need, figure out how you can fill it.
Wow.
Great
quote. I love Mr. Rogers there. Friends, this is Jeff Prickett, Illinois. Check out his podcast, Becoming Principal. Check out his book. And certainly, Jeff, it was an honor to have you on and have this conversation with you.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me on. It's been a pleasure, Andrew. And anytime you're in the Windy City here, not that I'm in Chicago, but when you come to Illinois, people always say I'm in Chicago. I'm not really in Chicago, but anything that's near Chicago, everybody says I live in Chicago. So there you go. Hit me up. We'll have some pizza.
Check them out. Get the deep dish in Illinois. Jeff Prickett, everyone. Guys, if I could help you in any way, don't hesitate to reach out at Andrew Murata 21 on Twitter. I do want to thank again our sponsor for the show, Halvesies Cookies, discount code Murata. We are going to sign off on show number 252. Jeff, stay on the line a minute. Keep rolling, friends. Keep surviving and thriving.